Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Israel says it has taken over a Hamas stronghold in northern Gaza after a 10-hour battle. Flares lit up Gaza's skyline and descended over the Al-Shifa hospital as Israel said its forces were operating deep in Gaza City. Residents of Khan Yunis worked to clear damage on Thursday from the previous day's strikes on Gaza's main southern city. An evacuation route allowing people to leave northern Gaza for the south is open for the 5th day. Israel says 50,000 Palestinians left the Gaza City area on Wednesday via that route. French President Emmanuel Macron here calling for a humanitarian pause very quickly, while there are also fears the fighting in Gaza could spread.
Concern about the potential spillover of the conflict beyond Gaza. In the West Bank, military incursion by the Israeli forces and settler violence have caused record high death toll among Palestinians. The West Bank is boiling, and if we wouldn't have Gaza today, all our attention would be on the West Bank.
The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has said war crimes had been committed by both Israel and Hamas in the conflict that erupted just over a month ago. Volker Turk was speaking at the Rafah crossing in Egypt on the border with Gaza, a key point for aid and the transfer of injured and elderly people out of the area.
These are the gates to a living nightmare. A nightmare where people have been suffocating under persistent bombardment, mourning their families, struggling for water, for food, for electricity and fuel.
For the third time, Donald Trump's rivals for the Republican presidential nomination have taken to the debate stage, seeking a way to dislodge the former president from his commanding lead in opinion polls.
Look where we are now. It's a lot different than we were in 2016.
While contenders such as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley briefly criticized Trump, the 5 candidates largely trained their fire on Democratic President Joe Biden, particularly during a lengthy segment on foreign policy and the Israel-Hamas conflict. But it was Vivek Ramaswamy's attack on Nikki Haley that was the most controversial moment of the night.
In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Adult daughter.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has arrived in Astana for a rare visit abroad. He was welcomed in the airport by the president of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. Thursday's visit is Mr. Putin's third known trip abroad since the Hague-based International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant in March for the Russian leader on war crime charges, something the Kremlin strongly rejects. Kazakhstan, like China and Kyrgyzstan, the 2 other countries Mr. Putin has visited recently, is not a signatory to the ICC. The Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak is in hospital in Mexico, that's according to multiple reports. It is not currently clear what the cause is. The 73-year-old was in Mexico City attending the World Business Forum, a business conference. Better known in the tech world as Woz, Mr. Wozniak is a Silicon Valley veteran who co-founded Apple with Steve Jobs in 1976 and invented the first Apple computer. US actors are expected to resume work after their union agreed a tentative deal with Hollywood studios to end a 4-month strike. SAG-AFTRA reached agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and TV Producers in a unanimous vote. The shutdown, combined with a separate writers' strike, paralyzed the entertainment industry and disrupted numerous major films and TV shows. Actors have been calling for better pay and safeguards on the use of AI. And Pablo Picasso's 1932 painting Femme à la Montre has sold for more than $139 million, making it the most valuable work of art sold globally at an auction this year. The work is a standout of New York City's full art auction season, seen by many as a bellwether for the art market. It depicts Marie-Therese Walter, the French model, who was also a lover of the Spanish artist and the subject of many of his paintings.
Selling the picture, fair warning. Last chance.
The 9-digit price makes it the second most expensive Picasso painting to sell at auction.
Title number 36. Thank you.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.